Been training for about 20 years. I was lucky enough to run into Michelle about 5 years ago when I was training her husband Chris. And back then we started to talk about National Women in Roofing was just getting going. And we were talking about 5 years ago getting a training set up that's an all women training so that we could bring more women into the business and have them not be intimidated by the physical end of the business. Most companies have women involved in the business, but it's all in the management end. But there's really no reason why women can't be involved in the actual installation end of things. So that started the conversation with Michelle. Last year, maybe a year and a half ago, last summer, I did a training in Mesa, Arizona with Nicole Pinto, who couldn't make it here because of COVID. But she went through a 3-day class and was able to go to her place in Seattle, install her own roof with a little bit of help back and forth, communication back and forth with me. Pretty impressive. So Kelly, I met through her husband Chuck. Again, I trained him several years ago. He's come to several trainings. We were actually on a project in the Bahamas together last year.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Big, huge project. And Kelly was on the roof helping us through the whole project. So.
That's excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
And Sheridan Resources, you're doing training all over, but you also have Sheridan Tools, right?
Right, so we also sell tools to supplement the trainings, and we know the tools. If there's a tool in my booth, we've used it.
Yeah.
And everybody in my booth is pretty much familiar with what we're using.
And we're going to get to that, the booth, because you're going to love this. It's very good. So Kelly, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company?
I'm Kelly Nolden. I'm from Wisconsin, and my husband and I have a business called Done Right Home Maintenance. We're mainly roofing, small construction. We've kind of downsized, and it's just him and I, so we do what we can. So
it's fun. It's nice. I know. You and Jack, yeah, it's cool. And we have the kind of the same thing over here. But Michelle, can you introduce yourself and your company?
Yeah, Michelle Kettering, LTD Exteriors. We are based out of North Carolina. My husband and I specialize in slate and tile roofs. We've been in the industry, I've been in the industry off and on over 20 years. I got started with my brother-in-law, Kurt Kettering. He started his company and he said, hey, I need some help. Can you come help me? And I started. I had my own goals, wanted to, venture out to the corporate world, and the roofing industry kept pulling me back in. Fast forward to 7 years ago, my husband encouraged me to start my own business and start my own roofing company. And so we did, and here we are. My capacity with metal is I work with a lot of copper, and I make my own pipe boots and solder stuff, so it's just
very cool.
What we do.
Okay, and you, Michelle, you have to tell everybody, what does LTD stand for?
It stands for Living the Dream.
I love that. I love that name. I love it. It's so awesome. So as you can see, the topic here today is really women in metal construction and how that is growing and really starting to, 5 years now, look what you have today, and we have a long way to go still. But let's talk a little bit about how both of you, Michelle and Kelly, I know they're a little bit different stories, but how you first got kind of introduced to metal training. So how did you meet John?
So as he mentioned, my husband was doing a training with John, and we went to dinner afterwards, and we started the discussion. I was very interested when my husband said what had gone on in the training. I thought, well, I need to do this training. This sounds like fun. And so then John and I discussed, training and things of that sort, and bringing women in. And it was really exciting to talk to John about it, because he was very intrigued by bringing women in. He wanted to actually do something to make it happen.
Yes.
So that's kind of where the conversation started, and it's just kept on.
It's been, well, you know, I had this similar experience when I met John. We started talking, and he was like, but within like the first 5 minutes, he's like, okay, so I know you're involved with this National Women in Roofing thing, but we need to get women doing metal in National Women in Roofing. How are we going to do this, Heidi? So we're working on it. We're still, it's happening.
And it's way better than it was.
Yeah,
so
it's happening.
We're way closer than we were back in the day when we first started. And National Women in Roofing is too.
Yes.
They've grown exponentially over the last 5 years.
We're going to be ready to start bringing some of those demos, your demos, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, to National Women Roofing Day, hopefully. Not this year, but the next. Kelly, how did you, and I know through Chuck, but kind of give us your story of getting on the roof, starting working with metal, and in your business kind of through the trainings with John.
I have been working with Chuck for quite a few years. Yeah. We were basically doing the stone-coated steel shingles. Yeah. And when Chuck wanted to go to this roofing, it's like, wow, it's the middle of winter, we don't have anything going, go. Yeah. And he kept in touch with John, and when that fell into place for him to go to the Bahamas, I said, I'll go. so we went to the Bahamas for a month and worked with John. So
that's awesome.
It was cool. Yeah, it was cool.
Trial by fire.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the opposite. It was like cracking the whip. I mean, we did good. We did really good, and we were shorthanded the whole time. So Kelly was a huge help, and couldn't have done it without her. I mean, it was really good. Good experience.
And John, you've created really this network of trainers across the country. And it seems like once you train, you go in and train, and then you kind of bring them into your circle. And so you have, I mean, Moises and Chuck. I mean, a lot of these, Michelle, people are training, Kelly, are training for you too, right? So tell about that. It seems like you're really doing an amazing thing with Train the Trainer.
So that's still developing, but trying to expand the network, trying to be as inclusive as possible. So up until a couple of years ago, I didn't do a Spanish class. We just started doing Spanish classes 2 years ago, and I should have done it 10 years ago. You know, because I've always had Spanish-speaking people in my classes, and I can always get my message across. But it's so much different if somebody speaks the language. Right. You know, so that the message gets across so much better. First thing. And the second thing is, I always try to keep in touch with people after a training, so that if they need help after the training, that I can give them help. I couldn't do that with the Spanish students. So.
True. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I have Moises now. If anybody has a question, I can refer them to him. He can talk them through it.
Right.
So it's very important to me. Nobody becomes an expert in a 2 or 3 day training, but if you follow up with them and can answer some basic questions, then they can get through it. Yeah. You know, and once they get through the first couple of jobs, they're good. They're good to go.
But they have this full network to always rely to come back to.
Yeah.
Yeah, which makes a huge difference. So, if we're looking at, early morning. If we're looking at kind of some of the and I'm not going to say challenges, but just the experience of actually starting to get in there to doing metal on the roof. To I know you're talking about how much copper. What was that experience, Michelle, when you started going? Because you were running the office, you're CEO of your company, and now you're out on the roof, which I know you've been, and you were out there all the time. But now you're out there and you're, you know, forming and doing your metal and stuff like that. What were some of kind of the challenges for you as a business owner, and then also as really a woman on the roof?
I didn't know the machinery. I didn't know the equipment. It was something completely new to me. It was intimidating. Yeah. But having the support and people like John that, you know, they take that intimidation factor out of it for you. They walk you through it. That was the initial part. Yeah. It was very intimidating. Once you get let loose and you know how to do it, it's exciting. You're doing something to put things together. Yeah. You're contributing to a whole roofing system. So it's just, my big issue is I want to be out in the field all the time. Yeah. But as you mentioned, I'm CEO of my company, so I can't be out there
all the time. So you're like, hold off on the copper. I'll be there tomorrow. Don't anyone touch my stuff, right?
We actually have a story. I was doing a walkthrough on a job, and with one of our customers, and Christian pulled up and he says, "Hey, date night tonight?" And I'm thinking, I'm in the middle of a walkthrough with a customer. And he goes, no, we have to go make copper pipe boots tonight. so date night consisted of being in the shop making our pipe boots.
Okay, that's classic. I love it. I love it. So Kelly, kind of the same question. You guys have your own company. You've been doing stone coated steel, so that you've been doing metal roofs for a long time. Talk a little bit about how you all got into stone coated steel and the metal roofs, but then also when you did go to the Bahamas, what was that learning curve like?
Basically, the first day, John and I basically set out the tools, and he explained tools to me the first half of the day, and we were supposed to be resting the first day, but yeah. The next,
I didn't realize you were with me.
Yeah, no rest.
That was the end of that. Yeah.
the next morning, he showed me what how to run the panels, how to do the ends, how to do this, that, and I had everything. By the time we were done, I had the panels already for them to just handed them up. I ran the panels, did all the end work.
That was huge. So all the prep work that we were doing on the ground, Kelly took over.
That's awesome.
And we were able to hit it on the roof.
And we just,
and it was constant. She had everything lined up and coming at us. It was perfect.
So yeah, it was a learning curve.
A learning curve.
Now, are you in your own business? Are you doing more standing seam or more metal forming, or are you kind of, where are you with that?
We're kind of doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
That is. Yep. That's awesome. Okay, so as we're kind of and we answered one of these questions already. I want to talk about, for your businesses, really, as you're looking at it, you're doing tile and slate with the copper and stuff. What are your thoughts going forward? Are you going to bring more metal in? Are you looking at doing more metal?
Yes.
So talk a little bit about that and how it's kind of differentiating your business.
Well, we've been so specialized for so long, and we've enjoyed that. But we've also limited ourselves quite a bit with our clientele. So we want to offer other options to our customers that still have the longevity of a tile and slate roof, but without all of the costs and the maintenance and things of that sort. So metal is something that we're definitely looking into incorporating, which is part of the reason why we started attending the METALCONs, so that we could familiarize ourselves with what's out there, what machines, what tools.
What are you seeing? What are you seeing so far? I know you've been working in the booth doing demos the whole time. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
So far, I've seen our booth.
Exactly. So you're looking forward to seeing what's out there. I mean, and I know you saw some different products in the booth too.
So the diamond products.
Very cool, yeah.
We actually installed those yesterday on our mock-up, and they look really nice. We left it up last night. We came in this morning, and it was, whoa, that looks really nice.
It looks really pretty. I love it.
So.
I love it. And what are you looking for, Kelly, future-wise with metal in your business?
Actually, as Chuck and I are getting older, we're thinking of maybe just kind of transitioning more to teaching, and getting and getting that going. So
so that's perfect. And for you to be able to teach so that's kind of, and that was one of the things, really what you're doing, John, is trying to kind of grow this network of trainers.
And the cool thing about where people are located geographically is that some systems are dominant in some places. So Wisconsin, it's metal shingle dominant. North Carolina, maybe standing seam dominates. Florida's a little different. Florida, maybe the Vic West kind of products are hot right now, and everything has to meet Miami-Dade. So the people that are with me geographically know the systems in their areas and are best suited to train those systems. So that's kind of my vision of putting all these people together. Let them do their thing in their locations because they know it better than anybody.
That makes so much sense. I love it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what we're doing with the demo area. So, John, you and I, we were like, we need to get this training out there more. And so, of course, I volunteered John to do that. No pressure. But we now have, there is a training zone on the METALCON floor. So if you're watching this from METALCON, go over to the demo area, check out the booth. It's the training zone. You'll see it, big signs. But talk a little bit about your inspiration. I mean, once, of course, you were volunteered, but your inspiration for the booth and what's over there, John, right now for people to see?
Well, my inspiration for the booth was that Sherwin-Williams sponsored it.
Yes, that's so nice.
So that
Thank you,
opened us up to all of the Sherwin-Williams manufacturers.
Yeah.
So once they decided to sponsor the booth, we have all those manufacturers that want to show their products at the booth.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was one part of it. I wanted to get as many different profiles with Sherwin-Williams products, painted products on them. So we have 8 systems, I think.
Wow.
From Sherwin-Williams that are associated with Sherwin-Williams.
Yeah.
I also wanted to show the tools because I have a lot of tools that don't really lend themselves to stamp shingles or to the diamonds, but they do lend themselves to double fold European kind of style technology. So the one end mock-up is all tricky detailing with tricky tools.
Yeah.
So that allows me to show tools also in the booth. So we kind of have everything covered.
Right.
You know, we have all the entry-level systems. It's set up entry-level, intermediate, and then expert. And anybody can come in and ask any questions in English or Spanish. If they're interested in a training, I have a questionnaire. What kind of training are you interested in? What kind of products? Where are you located?
Yeah.
Spanish, English, all women. We're trying to set up an all-women training in Mesa, Arizona.
Awesome.
So
yeah, we'll be promoting that.
Yeah.
All the trainings are promoted on Metal Coffee Shop, which is also sponsored by Sherwin-Williams. Thank you, Sherwin-Williams. And so Kelly, I saw you guys were just working like crazy over there to set up and do everything. What's your thoughts on this training zone, and how did yesterday go? This is the first day with you doing the demos with Michelle. What kind of responses were you getting?
I think they were pretty good. You know, I was kind of surprised. I was kind of leery. I didn't know how they would respond to talking to women about stuff, but it turned out pretty good. So I think it was good. I think we had really good crowds. Yeah, a lot of people.
Did you have any women come up and ask about?
Actually, we did. Yep. And we had some that come in and thought it was nice that we were there because they had women on their crew that were very good. You know, they were excellent workers.
Once you see it, then everybody wants to share that story, and everybody wants to bring it together. What do you think? What do you think of the training zone?
I think it's great. The whole point of it is to allow people to walk in and touch the tools, you know, get familiarized with it. Again, take some of that intimidation factor out of things. Yeah. And it also gives the opportunity to display different types of installations that you can do.
Right. So. And you saw, and as you were answering questions, to go from being a trainer, being trained, I guess is the word, and then now training others and demoing and answering questions. How was that transition for you?
That was interesting. Yeah. I think I speak for both Kelly and I. We felt a little out of our element to begin with because we still feel like we're still learning.
Being trained,
We're still being trained. Okay.
Yeah, and it's a casual kind of atmosphere. So Michelle keeps calling me the ShamWow guy. But it's not like that. I'm not in front of a crowd trying to sell frying pans. Yeah. We invite people in. We invite people in and we try and let them participate in kind of a laid-back atmosphere. Yeah. So it's real casual.
That's awesome. Well, and as I'm, really thinking about this chance of, I truly believe when someone who's speaking Spanish has someone speaking Spanish helping in the training, it works for. When you see other women doing it, okay, I can do it too. But as we're talking about skilled labor in the next generation, I know, Michelle, that you hire a lot of Gen Zs, and you definitely have been a leader on it. Since I first knew you, we talked about that. So how do you see getting more young women interested in the trades and specifically into roofing and metal roofing?
So that has been the challenge, getting the word out that this is something that women can do, right? Especially young women. Yeah. So that has been quite a bit of a challenge that we're trying to figure out how do we get to the people that we want to train. But whew.
And so what are some of the things you've done to, and I know they come and go, I know hiring's hard, right? But what are some of the things that you are doing to kind of get both men and women, but that younger generation? You were just saying you were training, 20 new interns or something like that when you were on a call with us?
Yeah.
So so what are some of the things that you're doing there?
Well, we try to hire inexperienced people specifically so that we can introduce them to it.
Yeah.
Early on, you realize whether they're interested, whether they're fit for it, and so we try to go to schools. Some of our community colleges in the area, they have recently partnered up with construction companies to start these training programs.
Awesome.
And I'm hoping to be able to do something with John here that we can get into the community colleges as well, and partner up so that we can get to a larger market.
The trainings are already there, and then now you have people coming out of school looking for jobs. Oh, there you are. Yeah, it's the thing. So now, and as you're looking at, you and Chuck are going into wanting to be more full-time trainers and stuff. What are some of the things that you think are important, Kelly, to to getting more? And I'm going to stick with the women, but getting more women involved, and definitely younger women.
I think just getting them the training that they could use, that they could advance with. Yeah. So just
and really letting them know that they can do it.
They can do it. Yeah.
I think a lot of young women are told, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Right. That
Now,
you
your
can't
one daughter's a welder, right?
Yes. Yep.
The other one just joined the fire department.
Well,
I love it.
Actually, two of them are in the fire department.
So on the fire department.
Yeah.
So if you take away that intimidation factor,
right.
there's no reason why you can't do it.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about future trainings, John. Let's talk about what's the future for, and let's talk a little bit about MetalView, because MetalView, you're doing a lot of trainings there and you're bringing your training crew there. What's happening?
So MetalView, in conjunction with Grosso University, I'm doing a film session in 3 weeks in Chicago with Grosso University, and then I'm going to bring my own photographer in. We're going to film for 3 days, and we're going to break that down into 20 segments. They're going to go on Grosso University.
Awesome.
Anybody that looks up MetalView and Grosso University will have access to those 20 roofing segments.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have them on Metal Coffee Shop too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can come.
Yeah.
Megan.
There we go. Megan.
Talking to you, Megan. So that's the start of the official start of the MetalView push from our end, the training end. So that's one thing.
Yeah.
National Women in Roofing, we're trying to get our first training set up in Mesa, Arizona, or Burlington, North Carolina, which might be better for you.
I travel well.
Yeah, so do I. Allentown, PA, Mesa, Arizona, Burlington, North Carolina, Chicago. Any one of those locations, we can set up a training. So we're working on that.
And so if we have people watching this, which we will, a lot of people, how do they get a hold of you to start setting up those trainings?
I'm going to dump that on Michelle.
Okay, Michelle, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, you can go to SheridanTools.com and you will find John's contact information. I can also be reached via email at mkettering@ltdexteriors.com. And if you just let us know what you're interested in training in, like John said, there's a questionnaire. We can set something up.
That's great. You can also go to Metal Coffee Shop, and we're going to have that on the Sheridan directory also. We'll have a sign-up form.
National Women in Roofing.
National Women in Roofing we're working with, yes. And so we are going to work with them but right now it's we're just bringing, National Women in Roofing is definitely supporting and promoting. They're here at MetalCon. We've got all kinds of good swag and stuff, but we also are just trying to kind of really start this from the grassroots.
And it all circles back to you. It all circles back to Metal Coffee Shop.
Yeah.
You know,
so
all of that information is available there. That's the hub. That's the hub that reaches out.
And all of that is there, and we can get you signed up on Metal Coffee Shop, or just reach out to us and to Michelle, to John, to Kelly. You'll find us, and we want to start putting these together. And of course, we'll start advertising them too as they get put together. So, okay. Last thoughts about women and getting more women involved in the metal construction, roofing, siding, just overall metal construction world. John, just kind of some of your thoughts on why. Why should women be getting involved?
More familiar with the business for one thing. If you're locked in an office and all you do is paperwork, and you're trying to run a metal business and you're not familiar with what's happening in the field, you know how that is. You know. So the more familiar you are with what you're actually doing, the better handle you have on running the company or being a part of the company and being a functional part of the company, not just overhead.
That is such a great point. And I know, Michelle, you go to a lot of trainings even outside of metal. I keep trying to remember the last, you were telling me you were at a training and getting certified, but you had all kinds of certifications.
Yeah, we were certified in lead-based paint renovations and what other certifications do we have?
Yeah.
Ludovici.
Ludovici, that's the one that you were talking about. Yes.
Like John said, it is, you get these trainings and you have that connection between what's going out in the field and what you have going on paper, and it just makes you a stronger business.
Yeah, stronger. And you know what's the whole 9 yards.
Right,
yeah.
right.
And Kelly, I mean, kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
That's what you've been seeing. I mean, as you guys have had your business, I'm really inspired, you and Chuck running this business together, the two of you, and now going into training. What would you say to other, wives? And I'm just going to put this out there. My mom and dad were general contractors, and it was always my dad's business. It was never mom's, right? But mom did tons of stuff there. And so as you're reaching out to more women to get involved, to get trained, to be that part of it, what would you say?
I don't know, take every opportunity you can. And I guess don't throw them off the roof when you have the opportunity.
Be patient.
I love it.
Be patient.
And raise your hand when there's a Bahamas trip.
No, yes. Well, like Michelle said yesterday, is we as women we're thinking things through differently, and you have to, go about saying, "What are you doing?" a little more gently than. But it's all good. It's there.
It's a balance.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah.
20 years, I've probably had 10 women in my classes.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been a lot. But the cool thing about that is they come in with no preconceptions. They come in, they're a clean slate. They haven't developed any bad habits.
Yeah.
They're open-minded, and they're willing to learn. And they've been some of the best students I've had. Nicole,
a lot of
it's just
a lot of questions. Yeah.
A lot of questions.
Yeah, a lot of questions, but they're all good questions. They don't. They didn't work for somebody that was a bad contractor and then come in and know everything.
Right.
It's just.
That's cool. That's why you want to do it. You want to make your job easier.
Yeah. Yeah. You finally got it.
Okay. Woo, light bulb.
Well, and to add to that, it's an opportunity for women to make a very good income in this industry that they otherwise would not know, would not have the opportunity without going to college or having some kind of education. This can allow, maybe a single mom that is, newly divorced or separated to get out there and make her own path.
Yeah.
So that's for me, that's my drive, to get women in here, give them that independence.
I love it. That's so true. We talk about that so much. Well, I just want to say thank you. I am, as always, inspired by all of you, and thank you so much. I know you were all kind of like, Heidi, what are you talking about doing this at this show? But this has been such a this has been a true conversation, a true talk, and we're going to be getting some video over from the demo area today. Megan's going to be over there, so we'll be able to also show that with this segment as we produce it after the show. So you'll be able to kind of see these ladies and John as they are demoing and making it all happen over at the training center, or training zone. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heidi.
And thank all of you for watching this Metal Talk. By the way, Metal Talk is an award winner here at METALCON, and we are going for People's Choice. So if you're watching this, please go on to METALCON, either the app or the website, and vote for us for the People's Choice Award. So I'm going to make sure you guys all vote. So, okay.
As long as you vote for us for Best in Show. Yeah.
You got it. Best in Show, no problem. The training zone is it.
Like a Cocker Spaniel, yeah.
I love it. And we will be back, and we will be all kinds of interviews today, live coverage from the show. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you next time on the next Metal.